Hey everybody, I have been asked to talk about the Wayward Realms Kickstarter because a bunch of people on my channel had said, hey, you love Elder Scrolls, you love all the Bethesda stuff. These are the people who made Daggerfall, which is one of the classic Elder Scrolls titles. What do you think about the Kickstarter? Which, by the way, looks like it will be successful, which is pretty awesome for them. But one of the things I noted when I was going through the Kickstarter today is that this is not an actual game that's being promoted. And I don't think a lot of people realize that because I see a lot of videos around the internet talking about how this is going to be the next big RPG and they're so excited for it. It's going to bring back the nostalgia and the classic experience of Daggerfall. The trailer does look good. The prototype early access thing that we've seen, which is promoting the game and the first person, everything they've got here, which we could take a look at as we go through. They've got it up here on the Kickstarter game. This all looks pretty amazing, you know, for those of you who love that classic first-person RPG experience.
Welcome
no
to
doubt
the
about it.
archipelago,
This looks like it could
a
be a cool
landmass of
thing,
over 100
but
islands,
it's not
steeped
an
in political
actual
intrigue
game
and
that's being
forgotten
promoted
magic,
on
and a
this
multitude
Kickstarter.
of
In
adventures
fact,
to be had.
it's nothing more than a
Ours
prototype,
begins on Ijah,
which the
a remote
developers
island in the
hopefully
Middle East.
will then be able to get produced by an actual publisher. So the money that you're putting towards the Kickstarter is not actually for a video game. It's for a more fleshed out version of this prototype so that you can have an early access build that you can play, which they will then pitch to the publishers. So, you know, you can watch this video at your leisure. It's a cool video. It looks cool. Everything here on the Kickstarter looks cool. But what I want to do is I want to scroll all the way down to the bottom here. Not quite all the way to the bottom. But we want to go to the part where it says get early access. Just before that is this paragraph that a lot of people seem to be skipping over. It says, we do want to make it clear that our aim with your pledges is to fund full-time development for 1 year in order to produce an early access build. We would then release this early access build to the appropriate backers, take feedback as we continue to release updates, and then take this early access build to publishers to seek further funding with the goal of completing the entire game. Now, I say this because doing your due diligence when it comes to Kickstarter projects is incredibly important because way too many people have gotten burned by early access titles from both veteran developers like these folks as well as newbie developers. On the flip side of that, we've seen some amazing projects come out as a result of Kickstarter projects. Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2 as examples, Pillars of Eternity 1 and 2. These are companies that have done successful Kickstarter campaigns. As a couple of examples, there have been other ones, but those are some. But there have also been a ton of failures that have crashed and burned. Now, the one reason I want to mention this is because I've been seeing a ton of people promoting this Kickstarter out across social media as this amazing new up-and-coming game from the developers of Daggerfall. It is not a game. They are not promoting a game on their Kickstarter. They are promoting an early access prototype, which they then will hopefully promote to publishers to hopefully get enough money to then develop the full vision for the game, which then calls into question everything that they're promoting here because they've talked about some stuff here that is incredibly aggressive in terms of the things they want to do, not the least of which is we're going to have 8 unique playable races with distinct play styles in the full release, and that's the key wording that I think a lot of people are missing is that in the full release, because they're not talking about having 8 playable races in the early access build. They're talking about 8 playable races if they get fully funded from a publisher and are able to take this vision to its complete fruition. So it looks cool. It sounds cool. The video looks cool. They talk about some really progressive design things like different types of weather, traversing the open seas, dungeons full of monsters and dark secrets, a richly diverse wilderness, 4 core design principles. Those don't really matter because every game company promotes those. Players' actions having consequences, that's been promoted in pretty much every game that's ever been promoted ever. Role playing. They're also talking about this feature called the Virtual Game Master, which is a system designed to bring role playing to the next level. Brought to life using the latest in machine learning technology, aka AI, the VGM is meant to tailor a player's gameplay experience to their strengths and weaknesses, as well as their preferences and choices. This is AI and predictive learning. Aside from the many handcrafted quests we offer, the AI is also going to be in charge of creating new quests for the players to encounter, aka procedural content, by utilizing 5 quest templates and a 5-act structure, which is going to let the AI piece together new quests and opening up many possibilities. This AI will also take into account other quests the players has already completed, their playstyle, who their allies and enemies are, and what types of players prefers, and then utilizing these variables to create new, tantalizing, and engaging content. The big thing here is they're calling this the VGM, the Virtual Game Master. It's AI. That's all this is an AI program. They're building AI into their game for procedural generation. We've seen procedural generation in many games, but this is something where they're taking it to the next level and they're using templates to mix and match. But it's AI. Understand that's what it is. A lot of people don't want AI in their games. So this is something where, full disclosure, at the least they've come out and said that they have a virtual machine learning thing, but it's vague wording that I think a lot of people are skipping over in their rush to hype up a nostalgia product. So just, doing your due diligence. Again, I'm not shooting down what they have to offer. It sounds cool. It looks cool. But I do think from my perspective, one of the reasons I won't be backing the Kickstarter is because of the fact that A, it's not an actual game that's being promoted. It's an early access prototype, which will then be promoted to publishers. So for me, the use of AI and the fact that it's not even going to be an actual complete game upon the completion of their prototype, I won't be backing this because I will need it to actually be completed before I'm interested in it. I don't really do anything until it's either a fully fleshed out like early access like Enshrouded or Valheim or something that's actually reached completion. I really don't do Kickstarters here. They talk a lot about forging your own path, a classless system, having skills and attributes, having 30 skills across 8 attributes, melee combat, weapons and armor, magic system, a spellcrafting system, a relationship system, a living, breathing world on an unprecedented scale across 521,000 square kilometers or 201,160 square miles, featuring thousands of, here's the kicker, procedurally generated cities, dungeons, towns, and points of interest in between, allowing for adventures and exploration of epic proportions not seen in any other game. We've seen procedural generation in many games before. It can be done well, so that's not knocking this, but understand what's being promoted here. It's not actually handcrafted. It's not a handcrafted world. It's a procedurally generated world. Also, something of that size, performance is going to be an issue, and a small indie team, wait and see. A mass crowd system, going to be using mass AI, and they finally do mention using AI to display thousands of NPCs on screen at any given moment. Again, thousands of NPCs on screen, I really got to call that into question because to date you haven't actually built that, but you're promoting it as something that that is actually real, and performance being what it is, that's just a big red flag to me. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. The sailing that's going to be in the game, mounts and pack animals, reputation. This sounds to me like they've taken everything in the kitchen sink and thrown it at the Kickstarter and said, we're going to build the biggest, best RPG ever, but only if we're able to build this prototype and then pitch it to publishers to get the money we need so that we can then actually publish the full game. So I say all of this, and it sounds like I'm being really, really negative about this Kickstarter, but people ask me for my honest opinion. I think everything they have looks cool, but the scope of what they're trying to accomplish based on what they've mentioned in the Kickstarter sounds way beyond a $400,000 Kickstarter. It's a $500,000 Kickstarter, which again is only meant to build a prototype, which is then going to be pitched to publishers. Now, the scope of what they're promoting here I have just this horrible, haunting feeling based on all the Kickstarters I've seen crash and burn over the years, where we see these games that are promoted with this massive, epic scope, and then as we start to see 5, 6, 7 years of development go by, they start, oh, that's scope creep, feature creep, got to cut that, got to cut that, got to cut that, can't be done, that can't be done. The publisher's pushing back, they're not going to give us a $500 million budget, we're going to be given a $60 million budget, and now they're telling us $30 million budget. Trying to build something of the scope of what they've got presented here in the Kickstarter is a massive undertaking, well beyond what the $500,000 they're asking for is capable of producing. So just bear that in mind when you go look at this. Again, the trailer looks cool. It could be a cool little indie product, if they scaled it way down and produced like 3 races and a handful of cities and launched that as a starter game and said, here's our first game, now let's make the next one a little bit bigger and the next one a little bigger. That sounds a little more scalable, and that's something that could probably be done for a couple of million, a few $1 million with a small team of 15, 20 people. But this is something where they're promoting a massive, I mean, the size of the world, they're promoting thousands of NPCs on screen at the same time. Come on now, like Camelot Unchained can't even do that. Like, I'm just saying, I'm very much looking at this from the perspective of, really? Okay, I'm willing to sit back and wait, but so far, I'm looking at this going, it sounds cool, but until I see a publisher stepping up and being willing to give you, $250 million to build something on the scope of, say, Star Wars: The Old Republic or Elder Scrolls Online, I'm just not seeing how a lot of the stuff that's being promoted here in this Kickstarter is actually going to be able to come to fruition. Again, do your due diligence. If you want to part with money, the Kickstarter is going to be going on for another 23 days as of this recording. It looks like they'll hit their goal here in the next couple of days, probably. So who knows? Maybe this could be something that comes in the future, maybe not. But you asked me to report on it. I have done so. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. I'll see everybody in the next one. Until then, stay safe. Happy gaming.